Welcome, everyone. This is our energy healing class, and the topic is the importance of letting go. Welcome, everyone, and this is our last free Zoom class until September. We do have the prior Zoom classes up on our new website and also our new YouTube channel. Our website is www.infinitelight.me. That's www.infinite light.me. You'll see our upcoming events, and you'll also go to the classes page. If you scroll down the classes page at the very bottom, you're going to find the recordings not only of this class in this coming week, but also our prior classes. Then there'll be a link that will take you to our YouTube channel, and we're going to be posting more and more of our prior classes on the YouTube channel. So if you've missed a class this winter, please go to the YouTube channel because all the classes are going to be there. They're all free. You can watch them over and over if you want to, and also recommend them to friends because, again, these are free classes. Sometimes it's just very helpful to watch a meditation and do a meditation. And then next week, just do that one little part of the recording, which is a meditation. Sometimes it can really help center you or connect you to your guidance or even just calm you down. So feel free to use all of those options. We also have 2 upcoming events. Those of you who have been coming to class, you probably know we're taking a group to Ireland. Now that's coming up pretty fast, but we still do have a couple of places. June 14th to the 22nd. It's kind of a loose group because we just go to rural Ireland. I spent some of my time living there. So I kind of know places that aren't very touristy. I just go sort of in the back of beyond to where there's stone circles, monuments, old abbeys. In places that are pretty much off the tourist track, but I have found places of tremendous power. And I think all of you who are into psychic work or energy work know that certain parts of the world, certain areas such as Sedona, such as Idlewild, for example, we take trips there, or Haleakala in Maui, or the stone circles in Ireland seem to possess a strong energy. And once we're around that strong energy, we can really connect a little bit better with our guidance. It also seems to have the effect of raising our frequency. So if we're trying to clear something in our life, if we're trying to move on to the next place in our life, going to a place of power can really help that process. It can really speed it up. So for that reason, we're going to Ireland. We're going to be visiting many stone circles in Ireland. If you're still interested in that, just contact us on our website. Also, we're taking a trip to Sedona. That trip to Sedona will be the last weekend of September. And once again, we'll combine meditation and quiet time and group energy work with going out to the vortexes and really see what connecting to a vortex is all about. Really understanding why a sense of power in a physical place can tune into our own energy and really enhance our life, speed up our change or revelation, or just our transition to a better way of being. So I welcome all of you if you're interested in those events. Just get in touch with us on www.infinitelight.me. So now we're going into our topic, the importance of letting go. If I had my way, I think in life, I would never let go of anything. So maybe I shouldn't be teaching this class, but no, seriously. We all get to a point where we're a little bit stuck. We may not even know we're stuck. We just think everything's fine, and we wonder why everything is getting more and more limited, why we're meeting less people, we're getting less satisfaction at our job, why we're having more difficulties with our family. A lot of times when that happens, we have actually lapsed back into a pattern, sort of an emotional pattern we might have learned when we were a child. Now, remember, when we're children, everything is kind of survival oriented. Even in a very happy family, the child has to survive. We have to get along with our parents. They're our source of eating, sleeping, love, family, everything. So for a child, a lot of things come in as survival and they get very unconscious. So for example, if we know we're living with a dad who's angry, we might try to be very calm. If we are in a family, there's a lot of setbacks and material problems, we might try to be very tough. We might try to be very strong. If we're with a brother and a sister that are always competing with us, we might be very competitive. So in other words, none of these patterns are bad because they helped us get through childhood. Where it gets to be a problem is if we become an adult and we're just operating straight on the pattern. I was working with a client the other day who had a very difficult childhood in the British Isles, working on a farm with her parents. It was very poor and a real struggle. So she became very, very tough. Tough, that's a good quality, right? Well, when we go into our adult life and every single situation, we try to be super tough and we shut off our own vulnerability, or we shut off situations where we could be vulnerable, that's a problem. Now, how do we get to that part of ourself that runs the show? Well, it can be very difficult. The best way to do it is through meditation, through energy healing, and the title of this class, which is letting go. Whenever we get really stuck, we know we have to let go, and yet it's really hard. What do you let go of? One prayer that Jim has taught me that I thought was really good was, how do you know if something coming into your life is a challenge that you have to learn through? Or how do you know if it's going over your boundaries and you can just get rid of it and say, no, I do not want this person or this situation or this reality in my life? It can be a fine line because sometimes our challenges are there to not only teach us, but to push us past our patterns, to make our patterns so obvious to us and to make our own resistance so obvious to us that it pushes us past. And sometimes at the lowest parts of our life, we're getting that huge push to almost rebirth ourselves and get into a whole new way of living. Of course, at the time, it feels kind of horrible. So we're like, man, I'm really suffering here. It doesn't seem to make much sense. You know what I mean? There's a great quote by Yogananda: your trials did not come to punish you, but awaken you. Now, again, we get to the question, which of our trials are there to awaken us and which can we just let go of and say, sorry, I want to divorce you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want this job. I don't want this situation. I'm going to walk away from it. That's a tough call. And Jim is going to be teaching in the second half of this class a really good prayer on how to call in your angels and guides and figure out the difference. Like, what is in my life that I really need to endure and learn from? What in my life can I just walk away from and enjoy a different perspective, a different prosperity? But for the most part, everything that feels stuck in our life, the more we try to let go of it, the more we're allowing God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, to bring new things into our life. So the more we can let go, the more we get into relaxation in difficult times. And that can be difficult. Difficult times make us all tense up. It makes us all think, oh my God, what am I going to do next week, next month? It's really a difficult trick to relax in that situation. And yet, oddly enough, that's where we need to go to. We need to allow God, spirit, universe to take a lot of our feelings, our tense feelings, our fear feelings, our anger feelings, and just try to breathe and let go as much as we can. Why are we doing that? We're actually acknowledging that our whole body is an energy field. We have chakras, which are energy centers all up and down through our body. We also have an energy field all around our body. The more that just flows with energy, the more we're constantly being led to the next thing in our life. If there's a vacuum, if we feel something's been taken away from us, sometimes the hardest thing is to just stay still, trusting, and say, there's a vacuum here, something new is going to come fill it up, which is better than what just left my life. That's particularly hard with all kinds of loss or grief. And yet it's the nature of life to keep flowing. And it's the nature of our own energy system in our body to also flow with our chi, our life force energy. The moment we start shutting it down, we not only lose our momentum in our life, we start blocking ourselves from opportunities, from new people coming into our life, but we also start impacting our physical health. And those of you that have worked with me know that I'm a medical intuitive, a medical psychic. And one of my biggest jobs is simply to open up that flow of chi in your body, to stop any pattern, any belief, any way of hunkering down and blocking ourselves that could block that flow. Because I do know that if we have trust, if we have faith, if we just keep trying to open, even though those circumstances are difficult, the flow itself, spirit, our guidance is going to just effortlessly move us to the next place. So the exercise I'm going to do today in meditation is all about trying to do that consciously. Now, we have no real knowledge of what it is that's blocking us. We might get an idea. We might get a feeling, oh, this is what I did as a child. This is what I thought as a child. I'm blocking it the same way, or this reminds me of something my mom did, my dad did. But it's pretty subliminal. That's why we have to go to filling up with light or the divine energy or prayer or meditation, whatever you call it, because that's one of the best ways to let go. It's one of the best ways to give the steering or the mental decisions or the desire to control over to a higher power. And that's really the only way we're ever going to get past being stuck. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's something that all of us as spiritual people have to do because there's just really no way through it other than that. If you get really stuck in your mind, you're always going to want to control things. You're always going to want to judge things. And that often throws us back into the past. It throws us back into our old patterns. And sometimes the way our mind works is, oh my God, I'm doing it again. Let me think really hard how not to do that again. But you're going to your mind. You're going to the part of your soul which is getting jammed in the first place. So we don't really want to go to our mind. We want to try to have a number of different meditation techniques or even breathing techniques to still our mind and sort of get out of that field, even 4 or 5 minutes. Some ways you might think about doing that, not only by doing meditation, prayer, workshops, get out in nature, listen to music, go to the gym, involve your body in some hard work or some hard sport. You have to get yourself out of your mind. You have to allow yourself to relax even a little bit instead of tightening up. One of the best ways, of course, is to call in your guides and angels. If you feel connected to your guides and angels, it can be a daily practice. If you don't, my recommendation is simply that you remain still. You connect to whatever you consider to be the most relaxed or benevolent power of your life, whether it's an image of divine energy, whether it's the universe. Some people are very spooky around the word God. If you are, don't go there. Just think of energy, think of light, think of the universe, think of goddess. Whatever it is that could be a power bigger than you, that's benevolent and kind, all-knowing, and all-powerful, that can do those magical lifts in your life where you get lifted off to the next place safely. Because the whole point of our patterns, our defenses, our blocks is that we don't feel safe. And as children, if we didn't feel safe, we do the same emotional pattern over and over so that we can feel safe. Sometimes the only antidote to that is to try to connect with divine energy to the point where we feel safe. We can at least feel a measure of safety, a little measure of release, so we can say, okay, I think there's something bigger out here. I'm going to give my problem to the universe. I'm going to give my block to God. I'm going to allow divine energy to come in and release whatever is blocking me. So that's pretty much what our meditation is going to be today. If you're all ready for the meditation, just relax, close your eyes, and we're just going to start very simply with breathing. So I want everyone to just take a deep, deep breath. Let's just focus on the breath. Imagine the breath coming down through your chest, through your abdomen, your belly, but don't stop there. Breathe all the way down to your toes. Fill your body with oxygen. Fill your body with this beautiful energy that you breathe in and out all day. Now, when you take in the next breath, I want you to pull it way in, and I want you to hold the breath. When we hold our breath, there's a moment of stillness. We're not breathing in or out. We're just still. Okay, now we breathe it out. Let's do that again. Breathe all the way down to your toes. Hold the breath. Now just release it whenever you feel like it. Feel that stillness in your body. There's a moment between inhale and exhale where we just relax. We're just still. Let's do that one more time. We pull in the breath as deeply as we can. We hold the breath. Ah, breathe it out. Now we're going to roll our head on our neck. Just let your head go, roll around. You're stretching your neck, you're relaxing your neck. All that tension in your neck is just going away. If there's places in your neck that hurt, just roll over them very gently. Very, very gently. Now let's go the opposite way. We're stretching our neck out in the opposite direction. Feel the stretch, feel the relaxation. Your head is loose and limp. Loose and limp. Now we're going to do something that's absolutely the opposite. We're going to squinch our shoulders right up under our ears, as tense as you can be. Feel that tension all through your shoulders. See if your shoulders can touch the bottom of your ears. Now let them drop. Whoa. Okay, let's try that again. Squeeze the shoulders right under the ears. Tighter, tighter, tighter. Now let them drop. Now let's raise our hands as if we're trying to touch the ceiling. We feel a stretch from our lower back, up our back, our shoulders, our neck, our arms, right up to our fingers. I want you to reach a little bit more, reach a little bit higher. Feel that stretch. Now I want your hands to drift down very slowly, like they're two snowflakes. The reason they're floating down is because there's no weight in your hands. There's no weight in your arms. There's no weight in your body. You're just floating. Your whole body is floating. Your whole body is weightless. If a breeze came along, it would just blow you sideways. There's just nothing holding you down. Everything in your body is just so free. Now we're going to rotate on our hips. If you're sitting down, I want you to lean forward, lean to the side, lean to the back, and lean to the side again. We're going around in a big circle. We're just stretching out our lower back is what we're doing. If there's any place in your lower back that feels a little tense or hurts a little, just let it go. Just go over it very, very gently. You're just stretching out your back. You're relaxing your back, going around in a big, big circle. Now let's go the opposite direction. Again, you're going in a big circle. You're leaning forward, leaning to the side, leaning to the back, leaning to the side. The lower back may feel a little bit warm. You might be getting relaxed. If it's tense, if it hurts, just be very gentle. Just be very, very gentle as we go around. Now I want you to sit up and just feel the energy in your body. There's no right answer to this. We're all different. We all feel different. What does your body feel like today? Now I want you to imagine a bright, bright light coming down to the top of your head, flooding into your body. We're calling it in the name of God, Creator, Great Spirit, Goddess, divine energy. It's flowing into your body. It's flowing through your body. Rushes down your legs, rushes down your arms. It swirls around your heart. This is our chi, our life force energy that's constantly moving in our body. There's always more pouring in through our crown chakra. We don't even notice it, but we might take our pulse and understand that there's always energy moving through our body. We're always breathing. There's always energy moving. Now let's go to your heart. Your heart might feel a little bit warm. If you have a hard time imagining light, just think of energy as standing under a waterfall with the water pelting down on you. Or think that you're standing on top of a hill with the wind blowing. It's all the same energy. It might be really hard to perceive. It's very light, it's very subtle, but it's powerful. It's effervescent like champagne. It's always moving in your body, whether you realize it or not. Now imagine that beautiful energy coming into your heart. And now it floods out of your heart and it surrounds you. This is your energy field. When the light hits this energy field, it's your aura. It's there to protect you. So I want you to take a moment and see if you can feel that energy field around you. Is there any way you can feel it, see it, imagine it? If not, I want you to simply call in your guides and your angels, because we all have them, and say, I ask you to make my energy field strong. Even just by asking in a declaration in your mind, If you call into light, you call in divine energy, it will work. So let's imagine our energy field right now. If you feel you need more protection in your everyday life, imagine more light coming down through the top of your head and puffing out your energy field. Now, this is something you can do not just today in class, but you can do it every morning before you go to work. You can do it before you go to a family dinner, before you go to a meeting, or before you pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Your energy field can always be strong. So let's just imagine that right now. Now, the key to our chi, our life force energy, is usually right there in our heart. Our heart is kind of like a generator of chi or life force energy. That's because every moment of joy, happiness, even contentment creates more chi. We feel happy, we feel good, we feel energized by what makes us happy. If you feel frustrated right now and you're thinking, wow, I don't feel so happy, that's okay, because we can take happiness from the past. We can take happiness from the future and put it in our little engine here. So I want you to think back over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Think about a moment for you or moments that were really happy. They could be simple, like taking a walk with your dog, looking at a sunset, planting a flower, hugging a friend, talking to someone on the phone. The main important part of it is, how did it feel? And remember, we're sifting out, so only the very best memories are coming up right now. What made you really happy in the last few weeks? And how does it feel in your heart? What we all run on is joy and happiness. And obviously, sometimes our lives get very difficult and we don't always have like a moment of joy or happiness we can remember. But it's important to understand that that is our gasoline. That is what runs our engine. Even if you're really challenged, try to have a moment of joy every day. If if joy makes for you is eating a donut, eat a donut and feel the joy. Or talking to your friend, or patting your dog or your cat. The important part of it is the feeling, is the joy, it's the happiness. It's also the feeling of safety, because the more we feel safe in our world, the more we feel our world is just here to make us happy or content, we actually get healthier. We actually start attracting in more happy things in our life. Now, you may say, wow, my life is really hard right now. And not only that, the world is obviously going nuts. So how do I, as a spiritual person or conscious person, how can I identify with happiness when everybody's like, off the rails? That's a good question. I think the answer to it is, we have to be the anchor. We have to feel happiness, feel joy, feel truth, feel groundedness. We have to be anchored in positive energy, because that's going to transmit itself to everybody around us. The more of us that are anchored in positive energy, the more of us that are connecting with divine energy, it automatically ripples through the world and it calms everybody down. I know that sounds dumb, but I've seen it happen. It's true. It's almost like we have to hold space. One of the things Jim, my co-teacher, does is he holds a sacred room. He holds a meditation where people hold space at a high frequency of light. And you know, it works. The more we focus on light, we're not like stupid and ignoring all the negative stuff, but we've got to hold light. We've got to be that anchor for each other. And it's going to help us, not only us, our lives, but our families, our friends, everyone around us, because we're holding light for everybody. So let's go back to your heart now. Now we're going to do another little exercise that's going to give us a little bit more chi, life energy. I want you to put your hands out in front of your heart with your palms up, just like somebody's going to put an apple or an orange in your hands. But instead of an apple or an orange, there's a ball of light in your hands. There's a ball of energy. And I want you to move your hands around and I want you to feel it. Can you feel even a little heat or a little friction there? If it's really hard for you to visualize, I want you to simply call in your guides and angels or divine energy and say, I have a ball of energy in my hands. You're proclaiming it, you're owning it, even if you can't feel it or see it. So let's just do that right now. As you feel the energy in your hands, you may notice it might be a certain color. It might be warm, cold, heavy, light. It might be growing. It might have friction or a tingly feeling. What does it feel like? Now we say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift of love that you have for me today. So this energy is a gift from Spirit. Has it changed any? Do you see any other colors? Does it get heavier, lighter, warmer, cooler? I want you to put that energy right into your heart. Can you feel that little blip of energy going in there? Does your heart feel warm? We say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. The important part is not only feeling the energy, but receiving it, allowing yourself to receive. Very important thing to say to yourself every day. We can't just give, give, give. We have to receive. We have to believe the universe is so full of positive energy that we're always receiving it. Now let's do it again. Put your hands out in front of your heart. There's another ball of energy or light in your hands. Now, can you perceive it? Can you feel it? Or can you simply call in your angels and intend it? Now, this is a gift from the universe to you today. It could be guidance on a certain problem. It could be healing of a certain relationship. It might be prosperity. It might be joy. It might be a decision you've been trying to make. What is this gift? Is there any way you can look at the energy in your hand and feel? Is there a message here? Is there a color? Is there a feeling? Let's just be present with that. So we say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift that you're giving me today. We're opening the channels to receive. Now, is this energy in your hands? Did you feel anything more there? Another message? Is it a color? Is it a heavy feeling, a light feeling, an opening feeling? What does it feel like? I want you to put that right into your heart. Again, you're receiving it. You're asking for a gift and you're also claiming it. Very important. What does that feel like in your heart? We say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Can you feel the warmth in your heart? Your whole body is an energy field. Can you feel the energy? If you're having a hard time feeling the energy, remember, just put your hand on your pulse. There's plenty of energy there, whether you realize it or not. Now we're going to do an exercise on releasing a block, on letting go. And I want you to think about something in your life that's either been troubling you, blocking you, something you can't quite get around. Maybe it's from the past. Maybe you're judging something from your past and you can't quite get past it. Maybe it's a situation in your present life that doesn't seem to move. Maybe it's a feeling about yourself that you can't seem to shake. Whatever it is, I want you to focus in on it right now. Now, I just want you to choose one. We probably all have a lot, but for the sake of this exercise, just choose one thing that you would really like to either get clarity on or shift in your life. It's blocking you. It's frustrating you. Maybe it's a tragedy. Maybe it's a huge difficulty that's come upon you and you don't know how to solve it. You don't know what to do. You can use that too, because it's directly in your path. It's blocking you. So let's think about that for a moment. Now, how does your body feel when you think about this block or this situation? It might be located somewhere in your body. You might feel a heaviness somewhere. It might be more present to where you feel fear, tension, heart palpitations. Your throat might close up. Your stomach may get really tense. Just be present with those feelings just for a moment, because we just want to locate them. Now we're calling in your guides and your angels. We all have invisible light beings, divine energy, Holy Spirit that helps us every day, whether we realize it or not. You can see this in the form of Holy Spirit, angels, God, universe. As we sit in our heart and as we think of this block, just imagine that light coming in. Imagine that help coming in all around you. If you have a hard time imagining it, just say, I need help. I need divine energy. I need God. I need angels to really help me with this. That's okay too. Now I want you to imagine that you're in your heart and there's a beautiful golden path right in front of you, leading out of your heart. And your heart decides to allow you to move through the energy of your heart out onto that golden path. So you're moving in front of your heart now on a golden path. Your soul is walking. And by your side are your guides and angels. If you feel you connect with divine energy or the universe, feel it like a warmth around you, a consciousness that's always there to help you. You might see an angel on either side of you holding your arm, guiding you on this path of light. But now the path of light gets brighter and brighter, and you start speeding on this path of light. It's like you have an angel on either side holding your arm, and you're running, running, running on this path of light, and then you start to fly. You feel safe, though. Your angels are right there with you the whole time. You feel totally safe. You go up, up, up into the sky above the building that you're in. And now you start going out into the universe. You're speeding through the stars. You have an angel on either side. You're full of light. You're moving so fast. You're moving towards the sun. Ahead of you, the sun is so immense. It's so bright. It's so warm. And yet you're speeding towards it. Your angels are bright, bright light. Suddenly, you're bright light. As you speed towards the outskirts of the sun, that big block in your heart, it starts to dissolve. Can you see yourself speeding into the light? The light is so huge that that block is just breaking up right now. Anything within you that is resisting, anything within you that is hurting or wounded, it's just breaking up in all this light. You get closer and closer and closer to the sun. It's more and more and more intense. How do you feel right now? It's just blinding you. And yet there's a moment where you just connect with the light. You feel totally safe right now. Your whole body is filled with light. Your angels are on either side of you, holding you in this bright, bright light. Now start giving the light the emotional part of this block. You see it leaving your body. You can talk to your angels about the emotions you felt, how blocked you feel, how devastated you felt, how you don't know what to do. Let's take a moment and let that all out. All those feelings are coming out of you, all that fear, all that anger. And wait, there's one more little thing left in your heart. It's a little dark blob. What is that? You've been hanging on to it. I want your angel to reach in and just pull it out right now. We aren't holding on to anything anymore. Nothing that could hurt you, nothing that would wound you, nothing that holds you to anything negative. Let your angel reach in your heart and just pull it out. it just dissolves in this intense, intense light. Now, how did that feel? Light is flooding into your heart. Light is flooding into your body. You're almost on fire. What does that feel like? In this bright, bright light, you can say to your angels or the Holy Spirit, you can say, please now take from me anything that could be in my way, anything that's holding me back. And feel that light pour into you now. See the warmth and the intense energy of the sun fill your heart, blinding light. You're completely clear now. You've given up everything that was connected to that block. You've just let it all go. The feeling, the emotion, everything in your body is now clear. Your angels on either side now take you back down this golden path, back to your heart. You're speeding across the universe. You feel so light, so free. You don't really know what happened except that you let go of everything that was holding you back. You're speeding through this beautiful, beautiful light. You come onto the golden path. You're going a little bit more slowly, a little bit more slowly. And now here you are, you're back in your heart. Except now that you feel free, you feel open, you feel excited, you feel inspired. If there was pain or tragedy, it's lifted off of you for a moment now. You feel the Holy Spirit healing you. Your guides, your angels are at your side, and they're going to keep guiding you tomorrow, the next day, to give you hope, to give you inspiration, to give you guidance, to keep moving you on this beautiful path of light. Now, I want you to feel the light in your heart. I want you to feel it spreading out all throughout your body. Do you feel warm now? Do you feel relaxed now? Take a breath. Take a deep, deep, deep breath. You've let go of everything. And in its place is divine guidance and a feeling of safety, a feeling of inspiration. And you call in your guides and your angels to bring that to you every day. Another deep breath. When you feel ready, just open your eyes. Come back to the room. We're going to take a break now. The break will be about 10 minutes. Come back when you feel refreshed, and we'll go right into Jim's teaching and his meditation. I'm going to put on my picture now. But remember, everybody, just come back in about 8 minutes.
Okay. Can everybody hear me and see me? Good. I don't know why, but I don't see anybody's pictures anymore. And I don't know if that's a setting I have on or if you guys just all have your video cameras off, but I don't know if you can turn them on or not, but we'll fix that. If anybody wants to ask questions or comment after this part of the session, just raise your hand and we'll turn on your video if you can't do it yourself. Anyway, welcome back. And it's funny, but Abby and I, we do these classes and we never really talk about anything except for, what the guides tell us about what the topic is. But we never talk about what we're going to individually teach. And more often than not, we both kind of get the same message of what to teach. So, so Abby taught a lot of what I was going to teach. So I'm going to go in a little different direction. But anyway, for those who don't know me, my name is Jim McCarthy, and I've been teaching and working in energy for about 20 years or so. And part of my journey in life has been that I've gone through a lot of experiences, a lot of challenges, a lot of health stuff and everything else. And through that, I was always being taught by my guides what was going on and what to do about it. So I was kind of experiencing things so that I could teach about them, which wasn't always the most fun, but it works. Anyway, so I realized that along the way that I had a very strong will. And being very strong-willed and stubborn, I was telling the divine what to do. I was telling the light what to do. And I was trying to force it with my own will. And that to me created like huge blocks in my life. And it also created a lot of pain for me, to where I would try to force things and end up being very angry and frustrated that they weren't happening. And I never really took the time to look into the light and just say, what's my lesson here? Why aren't things moving? Or, what is it that you have for me? And, that's really the definition of not letting go, right? Staying attached to the mental realm and how you think things should unfold and how you think people should be and how you think your job should be and what you think should come into your life every day. That's it's a harder way to live than allowing things to unfold and then letting the light within you kind of lead the way and bring you understanding. And through a lot of time, I kind of realized that that was important. I mean, I think it was around 2010 or so, I had a teacher who was really profound. Her name was Jane Foster. And she had been a nun and she was a very good healer, a very good seer. And, did things like, she was an RN at one time and someone had died in the room and the doctor pronounced the person dead. And she could see that the soul hadn't left the room yet because she was a seer. And so she just pulled the lady's body into a side room and kind of tapped on her chest and held space for her to make her decision. And the lady decided to come back to her body and she ended up living, right? And so at the end of Jane's life, I asked her, we were at a spiritual event together, and she was very much into praying and taught me a lot about prayers. And I asked her, I said, Jane, what's your favorite prayer? And she said, let go and let God, or let go and trust God. And I thought, pretty simple, but there's a part of me that was like, but then you're giving up control, but then you're giving up what you want, right? And I asked her about that. I said, well, when you do that, you're just kind of going into a place of surrender. And she said, that's when miracles happen. That's when things happen that are beyond what you could outline. And that's when magic happens. And I was like, okay, but still a part of me thought that that was me giving up what I wanted to create, right? And so I meditated on that a little bit, and I realized that, you know, when you ask for clarity on things, usually you get them within yourself, but you also get people coming into your life and teaching you the lesson you need to learn, who already have learned it. And I got this lesson that, you know, that before we incarnate as a human being, we really outline what it is we want to learn, what lessons we want to learn, what relationships we want to heal, you know, how we want to evolve, what we want to bring to the world. And then we, you know, then we become born, and we get born in the right family for it, with the right bloodline, with the right karmic lessons and everything else. And then it unfolds. And we forget that we designed it all. And then we resist it. And so, you know, at a certain point, it's really nice to realize that everything that's going on in your life is purposeful. It's not by accident. And that at some level you're allowing it, or it wouldn't be happening. Okay. And then the next point to that is to recognize that the things that are happening in your life that are bringing up pain or suffering are actually bringing up stuff within you that still needs to be healed and transformed. And that when that happens, that you can't heal it with the mind, right? You can't just heal it by will or by force or by digging your heels in a little bit more and trying harder. You can only heal it by saying, okay, something in me is creating a lot of pain and suffering, and I need to let this go, and I need to let this consciousness come into me, like let go and let God. I need to let this consciousness come into me and take charge and start to heal me. Okay. And lately I've worked, you know, I work with people, and lately I've had a stream of people come in that they're angry and they're frustrated. And when I look into it, they're angry and they're frustrated because life isn't giving them what they want. And they just keep trying harder and harder to force it or to make changes in the outer world, but nothing's moving for them, right? And when I was working with this one person, I realized it happened like 2 or 3 times in like a week. And I realized that the anger and the frustration was actually blocking their ability for divine guidance, their ability to be open to let the light flow into them and let divine intervention come in. Because anger and frustration are a different frequency than the light, and it actually blocks it. And when you're stuck in anger and frustration, your thoughts are going to be of anger and of frustration, and you're really going to be kind of feeding that in your life. Okay. And with me, I know I did that quite a bit. And there finally came a point where I decided I didn't want to live in anger and frustration anymore. And so I said, okay. And I just called in my guides and angels. I said, I give up. And I'm going to let go of this anger and this frustration, and I'm going to give it to you. And I want you to take it out of me. And I also want you to heal all of my thoughts associated with it. And I want you to heal all my expectations associated with it about how I think things should be. And I did that. And every time those 2 emotions would come up in me, I would immediately turn to the divine. And I would just turn to the divine with the making the choice of, I want to let go of this now. I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to let go of it. And I want to allow you to not only take this energy out of me, but to help me to see things in a way that brings peace, in a way that brings clarity to me, in a way that I understand my lesson instead of fight my lesson. And it was that level of surrender that finally made things start to change. Okay. And, and then I started getting all these lessons that really emulated how light worked. It's like I realized I had expectations of how people should act. And I realized that those expectations were causing me to live in anger and frustration or hate or fear or resentment, one of those things. And I realized that all I had to do is let go of the expectation and everything else would follow. But I had to be sincere when I chose to let go of it. And Abby and I were doing a seminar in Idlewild not too long ago. We did a forgiveness exercise. And I think Abby was doing the lesson, and I brought someone in to forgive. And I just chose to forgive this person. And it was someone that I had a lot of anger for, who I thought kind of betrayed me. And so I decided to forgive them. And forgiving someone is really to release them, or to release holding them in a certain, like expectation, right? Like they should have been different. And so I chose to forgive this person. And I remember the next day I woke up and I thought about that person, and I still had some anger left. And so I remember walking down to the event with Abby, and I said, we can choose to forgive someone, but it's divine time on how long it takes to release the anger and the frustration and all of the data associated with it. And we just have to keep choosing to forgive them and keep choosing to let go of all of the stuff we've held against somebody. And as we let go of it, our thoughts and our perceptions start to change, as does our emotional self. And we start to see things in a way that is truth. So like like in my case, I was angry with someone that I thought had betrayed me and hadn't stood up for me. And as I did this a few times, what I realized was that he was too afraid to speak up. And that's why he did what he did. And I was like, okay. So then I started feeling compassion for him. And I actually started like trying to send light to him to heal his fear. Okay. But before I took it personally. Okay. And so what I realized was that, as a soul, like one of the things I came into the world for was to learn how to forgive those who betrayed me, and learn how to have a loving heart and a fearless heart. And those were all lessons that I chose based on what some of my teachers had told me. And then in this lifetime, people betrayed me, and people, brought every fear into my life that I needed to face. And I would hate it or resent it or resist it. And it would just procrastinate the lesson. It would procrastinate it and keep it coming in. Okay. So, what we want to realize is that when we come in here, that Holy Spirit, that divine consciousness that's all knowing and all loving and can heal your perceptions and can heal your wounds, is within you already. And all we have to do is give it permission to take charge and transmute whatever needs to be transmuted in you as needed, to where you become more at peace. Okay. And this is really, after contemplating that prayer, let go and let God, that's really what it means. Okay. So what I finally realized with myself was that, I started to monitor my body and my emotional body. And if I had anger come up, I would just be present with it and I'd feel it, but I'd also kind of be present with what was going on in my mind and what was my current state of consciousness. What was the emotions and the thoughts and the perceptions coming up in me at that time? And one day I was doing that, and I was feeling hate. And it was like hate towards myself for not being good enough. And I was sitting with that and I was feeling it, and I was looking into my mind, and I was kind of monitoring this person I called myself being upset with himself. And as I was watching that, my guide stepped in and they said, "That's not you." And I was like, "What do you mean that's not me? That's been me my whole life. I've always been that way." And they said, that's a state of consciousness within you that hasn't been healed. Are you willing to let it go? And I was like, whoa. When I was writing out what I wanted to talk about today, one of the things that came to me loud and clear is that as long as we identify with ourselves as the state of consciousness that's going on within us, we can't heal it. We have to kind of step back and be the witness of it and say, okay, and that means admitting it to yourself. Like, I feel angry, I feel hate. And remember, it's not you, it's just something you're feeling. And I've got all of this stuff going on mentally that's associated with it that I also believe is me, but it's not. Okay. And once you get to that point, then you can let it go because it's not yourself. It's your mind, it's consciousness within your mind, and it's emotion. Okay. And when you get to that point, you can realize that this isn't me and I can let it go. But then the next step is, how do you heal it? Okay. And the only way to heal something that is not of truth and not of light is to bring light in and bring truth in and ask it to heal it for you. Because the point is that once you realize, if you're believing you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you hate someone because they rejected you or whatever it is that's causing you suffering. Once you realize that that's the case, the next step is to realize that your mind can't heal it, right? Your mind is limited to nothing but thoughts and memories and the emotions associated with it. So you've got to bring in that Holy Spirit or that consciousness that's light within you and ask it to please heal it for you, okay? And give it permission. And that's the letting go. I let go of this and I ask for you to heal it. And sometimes it heals instantly. I've had things going on to where it's like, I give it to the divine and I say, let me see this as you see it. Heal my perceptions. And immediately I understand it and my perceptions have shifted. And in that instant, my emotional body heals. Okay. Other times I might have to do it many times and it'll unfold like, working with someone who was really pissed off at God because God wasn't answering their prayers. Okay. It took a few sessions to release all of the anger and all of the hate towards God and actually clear the energy between her and God. And once that cleared, then her guidance started to wake up and she started to like receive the messages that she was blocking with the anger and the fear, right? And then she realized that it was a blessing to let the light lead the way because she doesn't have to carry the burden or try to heal herself. She can just allow truth to start to manifest in herself. Okay. And that's really, what Abby and I are trying to teach today is that, this person that we call us, like the person I call me, is only a snapshot of me. And usually all it is a state of consciousness of me, which is nothing but, something from the past that's surfacing. Okay. To get to the true me is to let go of the mental concepts and really call in that Holy Spirit and say, okay, you come through me with what you want to bring to the world. You come through me with the gifts you want to bring to the world. You come through me with the thoughts that you want me to bring, and you heal me, right? And then you become pure, and what you say and do naturally lifts people and brings healing to people. Okay. And that's really how we purify, is we just allow the Holy Spirit or the light to come first. Okay. And really let it take the lead because it's all knowing, it's all loving, and there's nothing in it but truth. Like one day Abby and I were meditating, and we meditate every morning. And we just call in the divine, we call in our guides and angels, and we just kind of sit there and we actually offer our day to the divine and all the results. And we just, we're doing it independently, but we just sit there, and then we might bring in people that we're working with, and we'll see what they need and help them. And on this particular day, we did this, and we called in the Holy Spirit, our guides and angels. And I was sitting there, and one of the people I was working with at that time came in on a soul level. And I looked at her, and in her second chakra, she had all of this anger and rage. And normally what I do is I just send light to that area, and I'll just wait and see what comes up and see if anything needs to be like let go of. And on this occasion, I was sitting there looking at it, and I was wondering what to do. And all of a sudden, this divine light came in next to her. And it was like complete light, like crystal. And when I looked into this being, all I saw was love and joy. There was absolutely no judgment. There was absolutely no hate. There was no fear. There was no resentment. It was a very light light. And it was just full of joy and love. And I was like, wow. And I've never looked at something that had no darkness in it at all. And this had no darkness in it. And I was like, well, who are you? And I heard, whatever, call me whatever you want to call me. And I said, what should I call you? And she said, Divine Mother. She goes, you can call me Divine Mother. And I just kind of realized that this was the light. This is what the light's made of. And so I asked her, I said, what should I do with this person? And she just shifted herself from where she was and went right into the chakra of this person that was next to her in light. And she said, my light will transform her. You can't do anything. Just let me do it. And then she kind of told me over the next few days, few weeks, that all I need to do is bring her light to whatever situation that needs healing or transformation, and then get the person to be open to the healing and the transformation. And she said, I promise it'll take effect. And that's really what it is. It's like, to let go means to fully be empty, to fully surrender and trust that this light within you is loving and is healing and knows how to heal you. You don't have to try to micromanage it. Okay. So, the trick is to learn how to let go. And one of the things that prevent us from letting go are, like, I was working with another person last week, and he was angry, and he was very angry with an ex-girlfriend. And so I said, is it okay to release the anger? Because I guess the girl was very abusive towards him. And I said, is it okay to release the anger that you're holding towards her? Because he was holding it in his body. And until he chose to release it, the light can't take it out of him. And so, is it okay to let go of this anger that you're holding against this person? And he said yes. And then I looked at his soul, and his soul said, but I didn't deserve that. And so I told him, I said, your soul's saying you didn't deserve that. And he goes, I didn't. And I said, is it okay still to let her go and to completely forgive her with God's help, and let God take care of the details, and don't hold it in yourself? Just move on. Because if you let this go, then you can go back into working as a vessel of light. You don't have that anger and that rage holding you back or blocking your connection to light. And so he immediately agreed to it. And then I saw all of that stuff come out of his second chakra. Okay. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, if you start to monitor yourself and you start to realize that I'm holding anger in myself in this specific relationship, you know, do I want to choose to let that go? And that's really the definition of letting go. Okay, you need to let go of anything that's negative going on with you that's blocking your connection to light. Because if you don't let go of the negativity, the light can't come and fill that space. Okay, and as soon as you let it go, not only is the light going to fill the space, but it's going to heal your thoughts and perceptions associated with it, to where you'll probably look at it with compassion, or you'll understand your lesson. You know, a lot of times in my life, things kept reoccurring that were bringing up fear in me. And I kept resisting it and trying to pawn it off to someone else so I didn't have to deal with it. And so finally, after like what seemed to be months or years of it, I finally realized that I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. It was coming for a reason. And so I finally surrendered and I let go. And I just asked, I said, what's my lesson in this? What is it that you're trying to teach me? And it was one of those times immediately I got guidance. And I understood my lesson in that particular instant was to learn to be impeccable with my word. And I realized instantly that I wanted that lesson. I wanted to learn to be impeccable with the word. And I never resisted it again. And within, like, there was no more pain and suffering for it. Within about 6 months, I learned the lesson and I moved on, and I never had to learn it again. It was just done. But when you're resisting something, it builds on anger and frustration because things aren't the way you want them to be. And you know, try to do yourself a favor and just let go of that. Let go of it and just, you know, ask for the healing to take place within you. Ask for clarity and understanding to come up in you. And ask for that Holy Spirit or that divine light to awaken in you and heal everything mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically associated with it, and evolve you, because that's really what you want. When things bring up pain and suffering, it's because they still need to be healed in you. Okay. And it doesn't mean like, I mean, I was in relationships that were abusive, and instead of letting go of the relationship, I blamed myself for it. I had a bunch of guilt and I thought it was my fault. And it took me a long time to keep surrendering that, letting it go, and asking for clarity. But as soon as I really let go, it healed fairly quickly. And I learned, you know, valuable lessons about not trying to control or hold expectations on people, and letting them be who they want to be. And if I want to be with them, fine. If I don't, that's fine too. But I have no right to try to control or dominate anybody or think I know what's right for them. Even if it is right for them, I have no business forcing it on them. You know, as we evolve spiritually, we take on divine characteristics. And one of the main laws of this world is free will. God gives us the ability to be whatever we want to be and to make choices and experience the consequences of them. And I have no right to judge someone for that or to try to change their course. It's not my will, but I had a lot of suffering because of that, and it took me a long time to learn that lesson. So anyway, I guess, you know, one of the highlights is, you know, don't push the light, right? Don't force the light to do your will. You know, if there's that much of a tug of war going on, get curious and at least, you know, clear any anger or frustration you have with the divine, and then just say, okay, you know, help me to understand this. Help me to understand the lessons. A lot of people right now, they're really trying to figure out their life's purpose, and they're trying to force it. because they want to do something. And a lot of them, their life's purpose is to heal and transform right now so that they can do what they're here to do. But you can't skip those steps, right? So they're being kind of held to heal everything and to heal heal their relationships, heal some karma, heal their, their fears, get clarity, heal their perceptions. And then as that happens, they naturally are brought what's next for them. But what they're trying to do is, like, what am I here to do? What am I here to do? But they're not paying attention to what they're being brought to do each day. And so, one of the prayers I say is, okay, God, what do you want me to do for you today? What do you want me to do today? Just bring it into my life and then lead, guide, and direct me so that I can do the best I can at it. And whatever that is, it is. I don't try to control what comes in, I just allow it. And if something comes in that triggers me emotionally, I know to bring the divine in at that moment and ask the divine to heal it in me. Because if something really is emotional, like for me, rejection was very emotional. When people rejected me, it brought up hate, it brought up fear, it brought up frustration. And I had to keep letting that go and bringing in the divine and asking the divine to heal the thoughts, the state of consciousness associated with it. And as that happened, I started to see it differently. Okay, so the other way to do that is to try to make it to where nobody rejects you. That's impossible. Okay, so pay attention to what things bring up in you and start to really be aware of that, because that's where the healing starts. And then really learn how to create a relationship with the divine. And that's kind of what Abby and I work with, is just helping people with that connection and holding light for them and actually helping them to realize what needs to be healed and helping them to let it go. So anyway, I want to do a meditation now. And I don't think I got through all my stuff, but oh well. Anyway, I want to do a meditation now. And I just want to, bring up a meditation to where the whole group is holding light for one another. And we're really, the whole focus is on I see a question about how did you change your perception, but I can't read the rest of it. But Beverly, remind me when we get to questions and I'll answer that question. But I mean, in regards to healing perceptions, you don't heal perceptions. You let go of your perception and you allow a new perception. The light somehow transforms it, okay, to where all of a sudden it changes, right? You just start to see things differently. And with a healed perception, the emotion always heals as well. Okay, so I'll go into that more in questions and stuff, but the truth of the matter is all healing is really a shift of perception. When we believe something, if we believe something's bad, okay, we feel the emotion. If we believe someone should be different than how they are, we feel the resistance of it, and we have all kinds of stuff going on about it. And the truth of the matter is we don't know how they should be. Okay. But as we clear, I always start with clearing the energy. And if I feel negative emotion, like even when I'm working with people, I'll feel what they're feeling and I'll clear it in myself sometimes, or other times I'll just bring it to their attention and I'll ask, is it okay to release that now? And I'll watch it be released. And then sometimes their soul will tell me what's behind it. They'll just say, but, I didn't deserve that, and that's really common. People hold on to anger or hate or, resentment because they've got this belief that they didn't deserve it. Okay. But what if what they went through wasn't a punishment? It was a lesson for them. What if somebody rejected them so that they could learn to love themselves? Right. I mean, there's a multitude of lessons under something. And if you keep surrendering it to the divine, you keep letting it go into the light and really asking with all your heart to help me understand this and help me heal this, you will heal it, but it will be healed perfectly. It will be healed exactly the way it's supposed to be healed in you, which may not be the same as how it would be healed for your son or your daughter or your partner. Okay. So, I guess the key to this class is really to let go of how you think it should be mentally and let go of your thoughts and your perceptions and your judgments and your expectations and let the light come in and really let the light light up your path. Let the light pull out of you what no longer serves you. Let the light transform your perceptions. Let the light help you to let go of things in your life that are causing you pain and suffering. But it knows all of that stuff. You don't have to tell it what to do. All you have to do is invite it in, because that light is really your higher self. It's that, like, back to that meditation with the divine feminine, right? The light within you is that light. It's complete love and it's complete joy. And there's no fear in it. There's no judgment in it. There's only truth in it. So bring that light inside yourself and then just open yourself and let it start to transform you. And as it does, you'll heal more and more and more to be a channel of that consciousness. And that's really what healing is, at least spiritual healing. Okay. So let's do a meditation about that. And the first thing the first thing we do is when we want to contact the light, when we want to open ourselves up to this divine light or the Holy Spirit, we have to realize that it's already present. And all we have to do is come out of the mind and just ask for it. All you have to do is call it in. It's like if you wanted to call me, you would just dial my phone number and I would answer. Okay. And, the difference between, that and the divine is the divine's never too busy to answer. Okay. It will always answer. But all we have to do is call it in. And that's really what prayer is. Prayer is nothing but saying something directed towards the divine. It's nothing more than that. It's just your intimate relationship with the divine. So what I want you to do now is just close your eyes. And I want you just to take a breath or two. And just be present with your breath. And you might realize that your breath happens naturally. It never stops. It happens while you're sleeping. It happens while you're thinking. It happens while you're at work. The only thing that really stops your breath is fear. And that's only temporary because something kicks in and makes you breathe. So realize that this breath is a gift. And it's a gift from the light within you. And by just connecting with your breath, you're connecting with the divine light. The divine is only found in the present moment. And your breath is only found in the present moment. That's why learning how to meditate and just be with your breath is a natural connection to the Spirit of God or that divine light within you. So as you sit here and just breathe, I want you to call in the divine light, Source, the Holy Spirit. Whatever name you have for that consciousness within you, that isn't your mind. That's complete, pure truth. That's love. That's joy. That's all knowing. Just call that in and ask it to be with you. Ask it to awaken within you. And some of you may feel it. Some of you may see it. Some of you might hear a buzzing sound. And whatever it is that comes into your awareness that lets you know you have this connection, just focus on that. If it's a feeling, as you focus on it, it'll grow. And that'll strengthen your connection. And I just want you to allow it to become stronger and start to fill all space. Let it awaken itself within your body and fill every cell, every organ of your body with this divine light. And you can ask it to govern every cell and every organ. Now allow this light to come down through your crown chakra and fill your mind and bring light into your third eye, your throat, your heart, your stomach or your will center, your second chakra, and your root chakra. And just ask it to continuously heal and transform anything operating within you that no longer serves you. Anything operating in you that's a barrier to its light, to its love, to its truth. Just give it permission and then let go. Sometimes it'll push out energy, old emotional wounds that are a block to light, that are a block to love. And if that's the case, just allow it. Just allow it. But give it the opportunity to heal you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and physically, without the need to tell it what to do. Now let this light come down through your crown chakra into your heart, and then let it come out from your heart and form a big ball of light in front of you. And let that light get as big as you want it to get. There's no limit. Could be a big ball of sun. Just let it expand. Let it get brighter and brighter. You can even let it clear your room of any energy that isn't of light, that isn't of love. And just transmute it into light. Give it a nice cleaning. Now I want you to bring into this ball of light someone that you're in a relationship with. Could be a partner, could be a work person, could be a boss, could be a child. It's someone in your life that you're not in harmony with. Maybe someone that's been treating you poorly, or that hasn't been what you wanted them to be. Just bring them into that light now. And allow the light to surround them with protective light, with loving light. You might notice if there's any energetic cords between you and them. And if there are any cords that don't look like they're of light, ask the light to fill those cords. And ask the light to transform anything in those cords to become light, to become peace. And to take dominion over those cords and govern them with light from now on. And I want you to go back to this relationship. And as you look at that person, I want you to really start to be aware of what they bring up in you. What types of feelings do you have? What types of thoughts do you have? Are you holding judgment against them? Are you holding emotions against them? Are you wanting them to be different than who they are? Are you trying to force things upon them? Are they trying to force things upon you? Now I want you to call in your guides and angels and just I want you to communicate to the light now, to that Holy Spirit. And I want you to decide whether you want to choose to give to the Holy Spirit the emotions you've held against this person, the thoughts you've held against this person, the expectations, any anger, resentment. I want you just to decide if you're willing to let this go. Let go of all states of consciousness associated with this relationship that are causing you pain and suffering. Are you willing to let this go into this light now? And really ask this light to heal this in you, to heal your thoughts, to heal your emotions. Just give it complete permission to take over and bring divine resolution to this relationship in the way it sees fit, not in the way you expect it to be. Just let go of the expectations. And trust this loving light to heal this without any negativity, without any punishment. Is it okay to let go of any feelings you've held against this person now? If so, just let them go. Let it go into the light. Is it okay to let go of your current state of consciousness? Meaning the thoughts, the judgments, the perceptions, the memories, the expectations that are associated with this person that have been active in your mind. Is it okay to release that into the light and ask the light to bring healing to your perceptions, to your memories, to your expectations? To help you to see things as they truly are, as the divine sees it. And if that's okay, then just offer your current state of consciousness to the light and ask that it be corrected and healed and transformed by grace. Ask for anything that's not of light and truth to be just gently dissolved and transformed. If there's a fear of letting anything go, based on you thinking you get hurt. Let go of the fear. And instead, ask the light of the divine for divine protection. To protect you from hurting each other. To protect you from hurting yourselves. Ask for divine protection. It's a lot more pleasant than trying to get protection from fear. And it's a lot more effective. Now I just want you to ask the divine to continuously heal you. Heal your state of consciousness. Heal your emotions, your thoughts, your memories associated with this person until they're completely healed. And give the divine permission to continue healing it at night while you sleep. Each night while you sleep. And give the divine permission to heal anything in this relationship that no longer serves you, that's not in alignment with divine's will, that's not in alignment for what's best for your highest good. You don't need to understand it. Know that the light understands it. And it will always give you what is most meaningful to you, what brings you the most love, the most healing, and the most joy. Ask for that in this relationship. Now I want you to thank the divine. Thank your guides and angels. And let this person that you brought into the light just stay in the light. And maybe you can watch that light go back up into the sun. Or into the Holy Spirit. And just allow that consciousness to take care of this person, to protect them, and to give them and your relationship what's needed for your highest good. And in the future, if anything comes up in this relationship that is painful or brings up something that needs to be continuously healed, just call in the Holy Spirit, call in the divine, and ask them again to help you with this part of it, to bring light to it, to heal your consciousness, to heal your feelings, heal your thoughts. And as that happens, things will heal in the outside world. Now let's go back into your breath. A deep breath and fill yourself with light. And let it just bless you right now and heal you in the way it wants to. After your next breath, you can just open your eyes. Come back to your room or wherever you're sitting. And maybe stretch a little bit. And I'm going to bring Abby up on the screen and we're going to go through questions, comments, and answer any questions you have. And anything you want to share too about your experience. Oh, it worked. Good. Okay. Okay. So does anybody want to share, or does anybody have any questions about the concept of letting go and the importance of letting go? I'm going to go to Beverly's question. I'm going to try to find it here. How did I change my perception of rejection? Okay. And every time I got rejected, I noticed that I would have an emotional charge with it. And so I started to become aware of it. I just started to, when I got rejection, I would start paying attention to what was going on in me. What was I thinking? What was I feeling? What was my reaction to being rejected? Right? Because in this world, it's impossible not to get rejected. Okay. So it makes sense to heal yourself of your emotional charge about it and how you think about it. Okay. Because with a healed state of consciousness, it won't bother you at all. Okay. And at a real still healed state of consciousness, you'll actually see it how the divine sees it. Okay. And so what I did was every time I got rejected, I felt hate. Okay. So I would feel the hate and I would bring in the divine and I would offer the divine the hate. And I would say, please take this out of me. It's not me. And then I would pay attention to my thoughts and I would just witness the thoughts. And I would also offer those to the divine and say, please take these thoughts and heal them and transform them because I can't do it. And the truth of the matter is you can't. You can't heal your thoughts. It's impossible. Right? So it's like you just offer them and you say, please heal these. And then you let go and you let them heal over time. But by getting present with it and doing those two things, and then when you ask for a healing, be open for a minute or two to receive the healing and then go about your day. Okay, but as you do that, you'll realize that that emotional charge will go from like for me, it was like an 8 or a 9, all the way down to like a 2. And then pretty soon it dissolves into nothing. And when people reject you, you just kind of like go, okay. And you realize that not everybody's, we're not all going to agree on everything. It's nothing personal, but that happens as your perceptions are healed. Don't try to jump to it. Just let it happen naturally. That answer your question? I hope. Does anybody have any questions or want to comment? If you do, just raise your Zoom hand. Abby? Wait, you're muted. Hang on a second.
Hi.
Hi.
I noticed that Karina had a question. I find it hard to let go of the desire to feel heard, understood by my partner.
Do you want to answer that?
I would say you're on a roll, so go for it.
Okay.
You're good at this, at the kind of release, the release of emotion. So yeah.
Okay. So what was it? What was the comment?
It's on the chat. Karina says, I find it hard to let go of the desire to feel heard, understood by my partner. So in other words, I guess it's a feeling of not being heard
Okay.
or having to fight to be heard. Yeah.
Yeah. That's common. And again, in the last month, I've worked with 2 or 3 people with that same problem. And when I cleared on it, when I meditated on it, what I realized was that, you know, some people aren't willing to look at themselves. And when you try to bring up something in them that they aren't able to look at, they're going to shut you down. Okay. And it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with you're trying to get them to look at something that they're resistant to looking at. And you need to really respect that. Okay. Because we have no right to push someone to look at something that they're not able to look at. And if you do, they're usually going to attack you. That's been my experience, and I've had a lot of it. Okay. So the truth of the matter is that with some people, like with me, I had the same problem. I didn't feel I was being heard. I felt like I was being shut down. And so what I realized after, again, doing what I just taught a few times, I started to get clarity. And the clarity that came to me was that we only have the right to express ourselves. And we don't have the right to make someone hear us or agree with us. Okay. And sometimes we don't even people aren't even willing to hear us. And when that happens, what I learned from my teacher, Jane, in 2010 was I was in a relationship that I was always being shut down. And I was completely angry and frustrated because I was always shut down. And so Jane told me, she goes, Jim, nobody can shut you down. And I'm like, you want to bet? Right? And she's like, no, it's true. Nobody can shut you down. And I said, how do you know? And she goes, we're all telepathic. I can communicate with your soul, and your soul is completely open to hearing me. And even if your ego wants to shut me down, I can still tell you what I want to tell you. And she goes, here's how to do it. Just sit there quietly when you're not in a charge about it, and then just call in their soul and tell them what you want them to hear, and ask their guides and angels to communicate that to them in a way that will be heard. Okay. And that's it. And she goes, that's all you can do, and trust that they will be given the message, but you have no control over what they do with that message, whether they agree with you, whether they don't agree with you, whether they like it, whether they don't like it. It's completely their free will, not yours. So that's kind of what I learned along the way. But, part of what I remember with that was when I would communicate to someone, that wasn't enough for me. I had to be right. I had to get them to agree with me, or they had to respect me. And that I don't have a right to do. And I recognize that. And then I give up the desire for their approval. I give up the desire for them to agree with me. And once I did that, I didn't have any emotional stuff left. Does that make sense? Do you want to add anything, Ab?
No, I think that's a great answer.
Okay. Yeah. So again, it goes back to emulating the divine, which is respecting someone's free will. And another thing, one of my teachers taught me a long time ago was he said, when I have a disagreement with someone, I speak my truth, I allow them to speak their truth, and we let it go. We don't have to agree, right? And Abby and I lately we've been listening to a Jason Mars song. It's is it called Jason Mars?
Yeah, Mraz is how you
Yeah, and
spell
it's
his
called
last
You Be
name.
You, I'll Be Me. Together we'll be in harmony. And that's really kind of how it is. We don't have to agree with one another. We don't have to be the same. We don't have to have the same gifts. Just let each other be who they are. And you'll naturally find the ones that you're in harmony with, and instead of trying to change the ones that you're not in harmony with. So that's my 2 cents.
So Karina says thank you, and Ignacio says um, the light being of the mother. Did you call her the divine mother? He just wants to know what your words for her was.
My words for her were the Divine Mother. And that's really, it's like um, very rarely do we get a glimpse at what pure light looks like and what it's made of. And I've seen it a few times in meditation. And I've also seen it with people that I bring into meditation that in this world, they're full of fear or anger or whatever. When their soul comes in, they're like just completely loving and joyful and nothing, they're not afraid of anything. They're just laughing, right? And that's really that divine essence of who we are. And it's these emotions and the thoughts and stuff that block it. I was working with someone last week or the week before, and one of their relatives had an affair. And when I looked into the relative, he was full of guilt and shame, and it was blocking him from being loving. And he was punishing himself with guilt. But until he released that, he couldn't be loving, which is the best gift you can give to people, is to be an expression of love. And he was blocking that. So I just talked to him on a soul level, and I kind of got him to agree to let it go, and he let it go. And that's it. I mean, really, when Abby and I work with people, it's really about talking to their higher self and getting awareness of what's going on and what's creating blocks, and then bringing it to their awareness and saying, do you want to let it go now? And when they let it go, instantly the healing starts to happen. It doesn't take much time, but as long as they resist it, it's impossible for the healing to happen. Does that help?
So we have a comment from Yukiko. Nice to see you, Yukiko. Thank you, Abby and Jim. What came up for her was anger and tears from my past relationship. I want to let it go. So I guess your advice to her, Jim, would be if she's working on letting it go, to just keep at it. Is that it? Like just keep going over it until it just gets less and less?
Yeah. I when I look into that, I see there was a lot of disappointment. And a lot of times, like a high soul or evolved soul, when someone treats them badly or does things that are harmful or hurtful, it's like they hold on to it to try to understand it, right? And they can't understand why it happened, and they hold the energy, thinking that by holding the energy, they're going to understand it. And my advice to her would be that to keep letting go of the hurt, just to give the hurt to the divine and ask the divine to pull it out of you. and ask the divine to help you to see them as the divine sees them, because the divine loves everything and everyone equally. And you'll get to a point where you'll be able to love that person, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to open yourself up to be abused by them, right? It's like there's a fine line to where you can love someone from a distance, but it doesn't mean that you don't need their love and approval anymore. You don't need them to be a certain way. You can just respect who they are and love them for who they are, but you don't need those lessons anymore. You just kind of let go. Does that make sense?
I hope that helped, Yukiko.
Yeah, just keep letting it go as it comes into your awareness. When you feel that pain and suffering, embrace it for a second and then offer it to the divine and ask the divine to take it out of you. Because really, it's not who you are, it's a state of consciousness from that relationship that hasn't been resolved. And just let it clear it from you. And as it clears it from you, it will transform magically in the outside world. You won't have to deal with it. It will come into a place of harmony and healing. And it will happen without you having to make it happen. Okay?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things I learned from Jim's teaching is that if I was upset with a person or an event that had happened in my life or something I didn't feel I could get past, the idea that it was simply a consciousness and it wasn't me necessarily, that I could let go of the consciousness and I didn't have to take it with me. I don't know if I'm expressing myself very well, but that was a really big understanding for me. It was like a really big thing of like, oh, this is a consciousness. I can actually let that go. It's not so much like the events didn't happen to me, but my consciousness, I can just let it go. And that was really huge. It's really healed a lot for me.
Yeah. And that was like with my guys when I was full of hate that day, and I was looking at me talking about how much I hated it. And all of a sudden they stepped in, they said, "You're witnessing it. That's your consciousness." And I'm like, huh? Right? And it's like, if you let go of that consciousness, there'll be peace underneath it. Do you want to let it go now? Right? And that's the big choice. Do you want to let it go? Because if you let it go, the divine will take it from you. But if you don't choose to let it go, the divine can't take it from you because you have free will to hold on to it. And that's really how powerful we are as a human being. Okay. So, they talk in spiritual work, like if you want to speed up your process, surrender. Surrender means letting go and letting the divine lead the way, right? And trusting that it's loving and trusting that it wants you to feel love and joy and have a meaningful life. And we hold on to things that block that. It's not the other way around.
So it looks like
Yeah.
Lauren has a question. What advice do you have for wanting to heal, but others around you don't? I feel like I'm taking a step back with them sometimes. It's hard not to push healing on them.
Yeah. Yeah. I was I was I was working with someone that wanted to learn ancestral healing. And it was a session to do ancestral healing. And about halfway through the session, I realized that the reason why she wanted to heal her family was because she was taking on the energy of her family. She was sensitive enough to where when she would talk to somebody in her family, she could feel the pain and suffering and she would take it into herself. And so her only way to heal herself was to heal the other person. Okay. And I said, no, 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 that's not how it works. Right. I mean, you can do ancestral healing. And a lot of times I'll take someone's suffering and I'll heal it within myself. But I don't like get attached to it has to heal. Right. It's like it goes through and the light does what it wants to it. But the reality is that if it's like heal your need to heal them first. Okay. Heal your attachment to them being different than who they are first. And kind of just learn to be at peace with who they are. And if that's harmful to you, then you need to start asking the divine to heal that in you to where you can choose to be in relationships that are more peaceful for you. right? You're not responsible to heal someone else, nor can you. That's a choice they have to make. And what I do with people that are resistant to healing is I ask the divine light to come in and protect them from hurting themselves and protect them from hurting others, and to give them what they need in this moment for their highest good. And if they're open to it, they will receive it. But I don't have to outline it with my mind, and I don't have to hold it in my body. And that was a really important lesson for me to learn, because it let the burden be the divine's burden and not my personal burden.
So it sounds like your answer would also be relevant to another question that came in, which is that the same thing when you're dealing with a narcissist? In other words, someone extremely controlling and disrespectful. So would that be the same thing of like, you're not responsible for healing, all you're responsible for is the expectations, and to let
Well,
those go?
with the narcissist, the first thing I would do is give up the need for their love, their approval, their um, their recognition. You know, a narcissist is someone who's very egoic, and the definition of the ego is to be separate and superior. Okay, and that's really, the big narcissists I've learned in my life, they had to be more powerful than I had to be. And they had to be in control, and they had to dominate, and they had to do all this stuff. And none of that is characteristics of light or divinity. Okay. So when I recognize that in someone, I know what I'm dealing with. And then I ask the divine to guide me, first to protect them from hurting themselves and protect them from hurting me, because I don't want them attacking me. Okay. And then secondly, I ask the divine to give them what they need for their highest good, and ask the divine to take care of them. And if they're open to it, they'll start to shift. And if they're not open to it, they'll get more aggressive. And if they're more aggressive, then I just get them out of my life, because I don't want them in my life. Okay. I mean, it's, one of the things that is true about the divine is it wants to create peace and harmony. And if someone's attached to their ego and being in control, they're not going to let that divine in, right? That's what this whole class is about, teaching you how to do it. But you can learn to do it for yourself, but you can't force someone else to do it, nor do you have the right to force someone else to do it. It will eventually just cause you pain and suffering, because you're trying to control them, and that's against God's will, right? It's like you only have the right to heal yourself, okay? Unless someone comes to you and is hopefully paying you to help them heal, and then you can be a conduit to help them heal, and bring things into awareness that they may want to let go of, or help them heal perceptions or whatever. But don't be the one to try to do it with someone who's resistant. It doesn't end well. Okay. Would you
So
have anything to add to that, Abby?
yeah, I would, because there's another comment here of like, what if the person is, a close relative, and what if you have to live with them? So, and the comment is, I just do my best to avoid them. So I'd say for me, I would really work on my energy field. And I've noticed this a lot of good results with my clients too. I had one client who had to go to work and work within 4 feet. Their desks were pushed together with someone that was extremely hateful and difficult. And she couldn't leave her job. And it was this ongoing nightmare of having to go to work and spend 8 hours like facing somebody at this desk who was like a real narcissist. So what we did was we really worked on her energy field. So what that means is the whole exercise I teach about filling yourself with light, but then notice the part about putting light in your energy field. So in other words, it's a clearing, but it's also a protection. And if you really do some work on that one exercise and try to build an energy field around you, even to the point where you think of yourself you know, this person before they went to work, they worked on their energy field and they imagined some sort of image like a bubble or a boundary that would protect them in their little bubble of light. And it did take a while, granted, but it worked to the point where as she worked enough on herself to, first of all, cut cords with the person and create a strong energy field, eventually, and this is a true story, she could go into that job and the guy was like within 4 feet of her and he stopped. A couple things happened. He stopped bothering her. He stopped trying to talk to her and control her. It was almost like the energy was unplugged. And the second thing that happened was that she was very insulated and she felt safe. She didn't get triggered. And I have another example of someone who was living with their mother. And again, the mother just pushed every single button. And it wasn't a case where they could heal together and they could both evolve because the mother was very shut down. And so we just kept working on cutting cords, which means cutting any part of your emotions, such as your guilt, your shame, your feeling of obligation, your feeling of inferiority, your low self-esteem. If you can really hit all of those places and try to heal as much as you can, and then also work on your energy field, it will shift. I mean, and I don't mean to sound morbid, but what happened is that the mother, the lady, just very peacefully passed away when my client got to the point where they were able to really let it go. And it was interesting because an illness came up to where my client really felt a lot of compassion and really healed a lot of the feelings they had had about that parent. So again, it's never easy, but at the same time, most of the light that you try to step into is really going to work. You just have to really give it a shot and keep at it. And I
Yeah.
hope that answered it.
Yeah,
And
I go ahead, Abby.
oh no, you go ahead.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to add is that, be aware of whatever those people are bringing up in you and really heal all of that within you. Because a lot of times, like one of my lessons was to have a fearless heart, and I faced a lot of fearful things. And I healed it one thing at a time. But if it didn't come into my life, I couldn't have healed it. So really pay attention to what it brings up in you and heal that first. Put the oxygen on yourself first and heal that first.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. I
and,
agree. And I would
and
say one thing I learned from my client taking care of their mother at the end was what really healed them was compassion. Just almost feeling sorry for the person or just understanding that that person could never be what they wanted, but almost just seeing it with compassion. That seemed to really help let it go.
I would say that that's the effect of the healing.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Like
point.
like after the charge is gone,
Uh-huh.
naturally you're going to have compassion, but you'll be at peace.
Yeah, that's
Right? You
true.
like you'll see it with compassion. Like I remember when I was at an event once and this lady was like super angry. And after I cleared the fear of her anger, I looked at her as with compassion that she had so much anger in her body and that she was so uncomfortable. Okay. And then it was like I wasn't feeling, attacked anymore at that point. But there's another question about Abby, will you be teaching any psychic development training classes again? I attended one in the past and it was great.
Oh, thank you. We are teaching a 3-day seminar in Sedona, Arizona, and that will be the last weekend of September. And that will go over a lot of all this material, psychic development, um, training, different exercises. And you can see the information about the Sedona workshop on the website, www.infinitelight.me. Also, we'll probably be teaching, we resume teaching in September. We'll have this Zoom class, the free Zoom class, We may also be doing some in-person classes in the desert, in Palm Desert. I know we had one last spring, we didn't continue, so all of those desert people, sorry about that, sorry about that. But we will be coming back in the fall. And also we may have one in Orange County as well. So just keep going to the website and we'll keep trying to post when the classes will be. But thank you so much for all of you. I love your participation and thank you so much. It's also wonderful to teach, especially in person, because everybody brings so much wonderful energy to it. It's really cool. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I think the event we're having in September, we're also having one in Ottawa or in Ireland, going through all the stone circles. And
Right.
both that and Sedona are, you know, one of the focuses we were talking about was to focus on really enhancing the connection to that light within you and going from the mind to the heart to where that light becomes your resource versus your mind, and to really clear people's spiritual guidance and their spiritual wisdom and their spiritual discernment using these high energy vortexes in Sedona. It's one of the highest vibrating places in America. And by being in those energies, it can clear things a lot faster than in something that's not as, same thing with the stone circles. You know, people came back from that and they're just like, I was changed and I don't know why, because we sat and we just absorbed energy, right? Well, the energy knows how to transform. And so in Sedona, you know, we're really trying to teach how to bring people from the mind to the heart so that they can be a pure instrument of that infinite guidance and that infinite wisdom and bring their special purposes to the world. And I think that's going to be one of the main focuses that we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. I find that both in the stone circles of Ireland and Sedona, even we took a class up to Haleakala and Maui, and of course Idlewild, the energy of those places seems to really enhance psychic development, and it also seems to really connect us in a much stronger way to our guidance. So if you already hear guidance or you connect with your angels or your guidance, it's going to get a lot stronger. If you haven't had the experience of being able to connect, this could be the moment when you really do connect. So I encourage everyone to look at our website and we'll continue to post future events. And thank you, Erica. I know Erica came to Idlewild a few times, so thank you so much. I know, really wonderful connection for Erica.
Does anybody want to share anything while we're still going? Or ask questions in person? Just raise your Zoom hand if you do.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's
Yeah,
been a
thank you.
great class.
Yeah. And if you guys have any suggestions for future classes, just email us at info@infinitelight.me and we'll definitely cover the topics that are most requested.
Absolutely.
And thank you again. Thanks, Erica. Nice seeing you, Mike, Ollie,
Nice seeing
Gail,
everybody, Helen,
Christine,
Gail,
Carol,
Diane.
everyone.
So nice to see
Yeah.
you, Barb. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And remember, all of our past classes are now on YouTube and they're all free. So you can go to our website and get a couple of past classes. And then on the YouTube, there's a lot. So remember, it's just a really good resource. And
Yeah.
definitely we'll see you in September, but don't be afraid to reach out before then if you have a question or a comment or anything. We're always happy to connect.
Yep. And if you guys want any one-on-one help just to clear things, let us know.
Yes, Jim does a lot of wonderful personal sessions, and so do I. So
Yeah.
we're here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great summer.
Bye.
Bye-bye.